All right, I'm trying to get this right. I keep screwing this camera thing up, but so I got it held out in front of me, and then if I look down at my belly, you know what they call this? They call this a dicky do. You know why? Because it sticks out more than my dicky do. That was a joke. So what I'm trying to get is to where I can, if I look down, you see what I'm seeing. Because a lot of times I know I'll be doing something down here and you'll be looking somewhere else. So I figured if I put it up high, then when I look down to look at my hand, you'll also be able to see that. So anyway, hopefully that works. We'll see. That's done. I've gone in here and set this up. I cut all this out. I'm moving it. I centered it, recentered it with the latch, recentered this latch. It was pulling off to one side. It was all kinds of jacked up. These were touching here as it closed on both sides. You can see here that it's been rubbing, and so that's not good. And so, yeah, and I put the soft seal in it, which he got the good stuff. When I say the good stuff, there's two different kinds. I've said this before. There's soft seal, and then there's something else. Let me see what it's called. And he bought this. Depending on what you need, they're both probably great. This is called Super Soft, made by Metro. This is what I bought for Daryl's Camaro. And why that is because he bought two different kinds. One was soft seal and one was this super soft. This soft is really super soft, like it says. And so what happens is when you put this in your trunk, if it's hard like that, say your trunk sits a little too low, well that'd work if you wanted something hard to kind of bring it back up. But even this brings it up just a little bit. So it'll relax and go back down where it needs to be. So this stuff is soft. If I was to put the other stuff in there, it would raise that trunk would be so hard to shut. It'd lift up. It would look terrible. And eventually it would, you know, once the sun and wear and all that time, it would come down, but it'd still probably stick up too far. But that stuff there is soft. Like I said, it still sticks this up just a little bit, but it's gonna be good. It'll work out. So to show you what I've done so far, so we've done quite a few modifications to this piece here, so I can make sure you're looking at what I'm looking at. So I split this sucker from here all the way across to here, because these two edges right here were hitting. Well, you can't just cut that. It just doesn't work that way, not unless you just want to dent it down. And so I made a long slit. And so what I've done is I've taken a dolly and I've moved this back in. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. As you can see here, I'm going to continue to bend this over, and probably what I'll use, whatever I did with it, there it is. I thought I had made another one of these that had a more round radius on it. So you can use these as dollies. You can pick these up at, like, man, Harbor Freight. I think I picked this one up at Home Depot. And you just come in and take your grinder or whatever, and you round that radius to wherever you want. And then you can use it as a dolly. And it works great for stuff like putting it back here and then taking your hammer. I know I got another hammer, but I got this hammer here. But anyway, you can take it back behind there and just kind of work that to where you roll that lip in. Now this one's pretty much where it needs to be, so I don't really need to do it there. But like right in here, I can put it right below that and kind of roll it in. Now this is a high crown hammer. I bought this from Kinetic Customs, and it comes apart and does all kinds of fancy stuff. So if you're interested in that, check him out. He's on Instagram. And where else? I think he's on YouTube or Facebook also. But anyway, he's got all kinds of cool hammers. I bought a bunch of stuff from him. But I almost hate to use them because they're so pretty, but this one works. This is the highest crown hammer that I have. And so it works good for what I'm doing here, which is just rolling that edge up. And see how it's kind of closing up there? I'll just continue to do this right here with that dolly back behind it. Kind of going that direction to get it where I need to be. And it would be better if that wasn't so sharp. It would leave me a better round radius. I should probably, I guess I could grind that to what I needed, since it looks like it's working pretty well. But then I'll come back in here and squeeze that together and tack it and then work it like that. But I need to make this radius a little bit more round. But this is sitting where I need to sit it. I cut this, I push this down where it needs to stay. Same on this side, this is where this needs to live. So I need to make it all look back factory round again. So that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. So yeah, and I'll be doing a lot more of what you just saw me do, but it's basically hammer and dolly work, hammering. I always hammer the same direction. You guys probably know that. I don't hammer straight in. I always try to go the way I'm going, or deflect the hammer off with whatever, however I'm doing it, to get that to actually bend up the way I want it to bend. And I probably should crank this thing down on this side, and I would have a whole lot less deflection. So that's probably what I'll do right now, but I have to go find. I've got such a mess here, as you can see, and I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew, so if I'm talking fast, that's why. But this one's too small. That might work. That might work. We'll see. Well, hell, there's one right there, but it's the same size. That one's too big. And I should probably put a stick on top of this so it doesn't put a dent in it. That's another thing that you don't really want to do, is put dents in these panels. They're easy to dent. I probably already dented that side, but kind of is what it is. So I decided to work, it's like the first time maybe ever I've worked on my actual welding table since I built it, because it become a junk storage for lots of metal and things like that. But well, as you can see, I cleared me off a little spot so that I could actually work on my weld table. Kind of excited about this. So yeah, I think I got the camera set about where I need it. Oh, also, I got what they call femora. I went ahead and splurged and bought that. April off of Shipwreck, I think it's called, her channel. She's a YouTuber. She said she uses it and likes it. And it seems to do quite a bit of stuff. So probably a lot more than I'll ever do with it. Because like I said, I'm not trying to be some professional YouTuber or anything like that. I'm just trying to make some videos and show you guys what I'm doing here. And if you learn something, great. And if you learn what not to do, that's good too. So either way, you learned, right? So this is a how to or how not to, however you want to look at it. So anyway, yeah. So back to what I was saying. If you can get you a dolly that's the same radius round in there, that you can kind of go up at that angle and just roll it up, that's going to be good, because you don't want to do away with this roundness here. It's going to be a little sharper than it was, but you don't want it to just come to a point, because that'll look screwed up. You want it to look as factory as possible, so when you pull it together, it'll still be round. No one's going to notice that, but I did cut quite a bit out of that to drop it. So because these were just hitting because that trunk was bent so bad. I should say is bent so bad still. But we're gonna make this work. So that's what I ended up doing. I thought about how I could redo the trunk, how I could push it out with a porta power, and how the paint would crack all the pieces, and how I'd probably dent the top of the deal. When you push out on that, the top is gonna dent down. I'm like, look, I didn't sign up for this. I don't wanna go into that, and I sure don't wanna have to repaint this car because you're not gonna be able to match that paint that's God knows how old. So we decided to do this. And it's gonna work. So yeah, back to this. I just figured I'd put it over here. That way it's a little easier for me to work. I'm not welding around the car. I'm not welding around the gas tank. And so I can just work this. I can fill it in, and I can sit here and be happy and just do my thing. So that's what I'm gonna do. If I get something that seems like, you know, something you'd want to see, I'll bring you back. You can see I punched the holes for the little brace back here. It's called a striker. I always called those like a latch. Well, the latch is the thing on the top. See, I'm learning. And the striker is the thing on the bottom. It's like a car door. I always knew what the striker was on a car door, but I never thought about it on a trunk. So there you go. I'll shut up now. All right, I'm gonna take you along a little bit for this. Just bending this up. I decided to go ahead and use this hammer. This is for door skins, but it works real good for this. So I'm gonna take you along for that. Well, it's gonna wear my hearing protection, but it ain't gonna work with a GoPro on my head, so we'll just forego my ears. We don't need those anyway. I'm old, so don't matter. I'm just trying to bend that up, kind of like what I've done here. Bend it up to meet it. Here I've got a bracket on the backside, so I'm gonna have to figure out something for that. And you can see I'll tack those down. Once I get it bent up like that, then I can go ahead and start coming up like that. Yep, there's another bracket. I could probably take those brackets out of there. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there, if that shows up. This hole's a little bigger than I would like, but I still have some working to do, so maybe we'll close that up. I've got to bend that up, so of course it's right up by that flange. So we'll see what we can do here. Bend it up a little more. I've got this where I want it, so that's why I went ahead and tacked this so it'd stay there. This gap is a little bit bigger than I would want that. And again, so I need to kind of get that in line, but I don't know that I can really get behind that very well without taking that deal out of there. Yeah, dolly is pretty much what I've got is those little wire loom deals back there. I don't know exactly where they spot welded those in, but they are definitely in my way. Here and here. So we'll just have to see what we got. This all looks pretty good. This will work. Look down the side, it looks nice and smooth. This needs to come up a little bit more. That'll pinch together nicely. Just that right, not so much here, not so much there, right, but right in here. Alrighty then. So probably what I'm gonna do is go ahead and tack, and then work as I tack down. Because I know I've got this nice where I want it, so I'll go ahead and tack that area up and tack this area up. Make sure that's nice and smooth. And then, yeah, we'll get to tacking. So let's see if I can do this. If I catch my GoPro on fire. I'll stay there. No. I got like that. Does that make you happy? Nope, not happy that way. How about that? That happy? Nope, not happy. Well, maybe. We'll see. But if I could put you on the other side, hard to see this way. It's burning a little bit of that, I should have cleaned the back side of that EDP off, but I didn't. There. Not like you're gonna see anyway, it's just gonna flash you. Now here that's where I need to go ahead and work it in. It's smooth. Here, clip that wire. That's a pretty big gap, but we'll give her a shot. Got to do a double whammy on it. Sometimes you'll just hit one side and then you hit the other side and then you can just pull them together. Man, that dang thing. Kinda got her. I really don't want to take that thing out of there. That was a piss poor weld. Tack, I should say. And if you're wondering, these are about the size of a BB. This one's a little too proud. You really want them pretty low if you can. I could probably turn the heat up a little bit, but there's a fine line where you start blowing through. And I'm trying to keep that from happening, so I've got it set about where it's supposed to be. Anyway, that kind of gives you an idea of what I got going on. And we'll flip her over and look at the other side, but I'm sure they're probably penetrating through just fine. So, and it looks like, nope, battery's good. Battery's happy. Happy battery. Happy battery. All right, this looks pretty decent. Probably come down just a tad more. Make that a nice smooth transition, maybe. You want, you hope. All right. Throw a couple more little beads down here. We'll run one up next to this one. When you start doing that, it's when you start getting your heat, wanting to warp it and all that kind of stuff. So you got to be careful. This is where you got to jump around with your beads. Do that, and then you want to go back over to that side and do that. So, and then I'll grind these down first, and then I'll come back in and fill those in. because I've noticed just for me that when you don't grind these down, a lot of times it'll leave like a little tiny slit where it just didn't penetrate all the way through. And you really would like to have just continuous beads with no slits, no problems. So, and I try not, for me, I'm like, if I've got a pit, I'll take my light and I'll come in behind this, like this. And if I can see gaps or light, I'll re-weld that area. I mean, there's no sense for me, in my opinion, to put fiberglass on that. There's no reason to have to do that if you weld it up nice and solid. Like you can see, these are gonna be, once they're ground down, I'll show you the light from the back side, and you won't be able to see those little lights anymore, and it's solid. So there you go, that's it for that. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and seam this up. I gotta bend this up a little bit more, and we'll fit her back in there and see how it looks. See ya. Alright, I thought I'd show you what I got. I've got a red light back here, and you might be able to see those, see a little red. So there's a little pinhole there, a couple more little pinholes right through there. And as I move it down, if I find any more pinholes, then I'll just go ahead and fill those back in and grind them back down. Some of this I haven't even finished, like that there you can see I haven't finished that up yet. This side over here ought to be pretty good, but see, there's a pinhole there. So yeah, I just zap that pinhole, knock it back down, good to go. So I just thought I'd bring you along for that real quick. I still need to contour this edge just a little bit, and yeah, we'll see. All right, see ya. All right, there it is, all welded back together. Split it all the way across, all the way down, and lowered the whole thing. And so here comes my heater. Thank you, heater, because it's 30 degrees outside. So yeah, there it is. Looks good. And yeah, we'll make her beautiful. Took the striker completely out. When I was grinding it down to get all the crap off of it, it looked like they had pulled this out of another car maybe and left part of the piece underneath, like they just ripped the other floor out of the trunk. So I'd grind it all off, and as I was grinding the top, I found where the factory spot welds were, so I put those back. And then of course you can see here where I put those in. I moved this up a little bit to fit this, and now I'll still have to modify this just a tad here. I just ran out of time today, so but this over here should be pretty much done. And then I centered this latch and centered this striker completely to where when it shuts, it just shuts real nice, just like that. And there's room in here to where it's not hitting. Now once that soft seal goes in there, it'll actually raise it up a little bit more than this, but it'll relax back down. So, but this, man, it's been hit. I mean, I can do so much. So, but he got new metal here. That was what we were shooting for. So anyway, yeah, so, and that striker is just in there with magnets right now. I haven't welded it in yet, but you can see how nice it closed. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video, and tomorrow's Christmas, so you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll get back out here and get back after it when I can. See you guys.